What is going on, everybody? Welcome into Get in the Hole. Stephen McAvoy here. Another great week in the golf world. This Anderson Farm Invitational wraps up with a big win from an unknown name with a stock driver that you can only get for $300. How about that? In this show, we'll break down everything from this Anderson Farm Invitational, some Korn Ferry Tour action as the Tour Championship kicks into gear next week. We have the Baycurrent out in Japan for the PGA Tour. We'll give you some beer money and our Clubhouse Chatter right here on Get in the Hole.
Subscribe to Get in the Hole Pod.
Get in the Hole is brought to you by our amazing merch partners, PHI Apparel Company. With their unique designs for all, there's no doubt in our minds you will stand out in the crowd. Rep your favorite golf podcast and get your official Get in the Hole shirts and hoodies at phiapparel.co. When you check out, use code UNDERGROUND to get 10% off your entire order. Again, that's code UNDERGROUND for 10% off your next merch order at phiapparel.co. Stand out in the crowd, on the course, at the 19th hole, or quite frankly, anywhere with the official merch partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. Welcome in, everybody. It's Get in the Hole, episode 225. Stephen McAvoy here. You can follow me at Stephen McAvoy __. That's two underscores following my illustrious, beautiful name on Instagram and on Twitter. Of course, this episode, we've got a ton of things to get into, but of course, I want to shout out our good friends at 47 Brand before we kick off the show. Once again, I got to tell you guys, the merch that I finally received from the Ryder Cup has been phenomenal. 47 Brand, once again, absolutely crushed it. I would highly recommend you check that out, as it's all on sale now. But 47 Brand, as the fall weather is kicking into gear, that only means one thing: layering season. And honestly, 47 Brand does it better than just about anybody else. You could still get all your awesome summer essentials. Of course, the official sponsor of the TGL, which we'll chat about in a hot second as we get some exciting new news from the world of the TGL. But everything from your vacation, rangefinder, mulligan, Milkwood styles, and beyond. Their new Carhartt collab is now across all 4 leagues, plus the college game. You can check everything out. Link in our description. 47 Brand, free shipping when you create an account with our friends at 47 Brand. Go check them out and get shopping today on some of the best styles across all major sports, golf, soccer, and beyond. Our friends at 47 Brand. We kick off the show with some relatively breaking news as we record here on a Monday afternoon. We officially have some updates. The TGL finally kicking off their 2025-26 schedule. And honestly, with gusto, there's a lot to get to and a lot to break down. Shout out to Josh Carpenter of the Sports Business Journal, who always does an incredible job covering all things golf within what's happening in updates on scheduling, on stuff like the TGL, and in particular, the breakdown of how things are going to go for the 2025-26 season. Now, KB and I have talked about it in the past. We chatted a few weeks ago. The official announcement had come out by ESPN December 28th on ABC, primetime window. The rematch of the inaugural championship series between the Atlanta Drive and the New York Golf Club will take off on December 28th at 3 p.m. Now, for those of you who are rapidly checking your schedules, that does in fact mean it'll happen on a Sunday, 3 o'clock. Playoff potential in the NFL, hopefully not. In breaking down what the schedule looks like, we have confirmed that basically all the 1 o'clock games are a wash. There is Bills-Eagles at 4:25, but only 2 playoff teams are in the 1 o'clock slate. Nothing really to get that excited about. A lot of games that are going to be garbage time. Like I said, Bills-Eagles 4:25. That does give, though, a really interesting glimmer for the TGL to lock in probably one of their biggest audiences ever. I believe last year they peaked out at about a 1.5 million. That might have been the Tiger Rory match. It also might have been the debut match. I don't totally know off the top of my head. But to have the opportunity to outshine the NFL, you're on primetime ABC, cable television, broadcast television, and you get an hour and a half of a 2-hour match between your 2 rivaling budding champions with some big names, might I add you. Cameron Young, who's had a resurgent year so far. Billy Horschel on the comeback. Justin Thomas has been phenomenal as of late. There are some big names, Xander Schauffele as well. There are some big names that are taking part in this opening match. So I do not think in the slightest that the TGL will fail in any regard. They're going to be absolutely on top of it and probably getting a lot of overview. And then, of course, getting it turned off in the last half hour. But at the end of the day, you're getting people and their eyes in front of the product, which is the most important thing. The TGL was always created to be a secondary source of golf action, and it's gotten people like casual fans really interested. No one wants to watch 6 hours of a general tournament happening, particularly now in the fall. I mean, granted, by the time we kick off in December, there's going to be no golf on at all. We're going to be getting forward to the Century and the Sony a few weeks after that. But to get people interested in the game of golf and get it through a technological twist, originally, let's be honest, TGL was a response to what was up and coming on LIVGolf. Obviously, LIVGolf is kind of fluttered, softened the blow. The PGA Tour has been able to figure things out, but this has now become a entity in and of itself that I think is an interesting avenue for the PGA Tour to explore. Looking beyond what you're getting on that primetime match, 3 o'clock, December 28th, we're going to have 15 regular season TV windows, 9 of which will be on ESPN. They had 10 in 2024, but the 9 on ESPN plus the 1 on ABC on opening night will equal that out. 5 that'll air on ESPN2, which is the same as 2024. So they're having the same kind of setup as they did last year. However, the interesting twist and the adjustment for season 2, I had said this a long time ago that I didn't like how the TGL didn't have a set time in place that they were always on. Every Monday at 7, every Tuesday at 7, whatever it would be, depending on the football schedule, of course, and also the college slate. They are getting a little bit better. They're not quite there, but I now actually understand a little more into what they're actually doing. Apparently, they had a really large European fan base. So most matches are happening prior to 7 o'clock. This year, the earliest window will be 3 o'clock. That'll be the opening night. They had 1 p.m. events back in 2024. All the early window matchups will happen at 5 p.m., which is going to allow for European prime time at around 10, 11 o'clock, depending on where you are. So people are going to be intrigued on the European side to watch more of this in a primetime window instead of having a 1 o'clock where they're playing at like a 6 or a 7. Soccer's getting in the way. Other events are happening on the European side. Otherwise, events will happen at 9 p.m. as well as 7. So we're going to get plenty of overlook. In addition to that, we're going to have the first time in TGL history that we're going to have a tournament come right before a TGL match. Sunday, March 1st. It's the first time that we're going to see on the same day a PGA Tour tournament wrap up and the TGL. It's going to happen 3 hours after the conclusion of the Cognizant Classic. Now, what does that mean? Cognizant is only 5 miles away from the SoFi Center. They're all in the same sort of area. PGA National playing host out in Tampa, not in Tampa, the Palm Beach area. So both very close proximity. The players might not double up. In the past, we have not seen many of the top players who will be playing in that tournament. It's going to be Jupiter versus Boston, so like Tiger, Rory. Those guys have not played at the Cognizant. Really only one guy, and that was Kevin Kisner, played in the event last year. So I don't expect anybody to necessarily double up, which is totally fine. We're going to have guys who aren't playing in the tournament playing in the TGL. The only means they're going to be fresher. It's also going to be the only Tiger/Rory match of the season. It's the only time you're going to be able to see Jupiter play Boston the entirety of the year. So it's going to be a primetime match, 9 p.m., Sunday, March 1st, taking up prime real estate for all the casual fans to watch late night and for the hardcore fans to watch even more golf that day. Going back to the overall setup, there's no President's Day triple header. Instead, they're going to have back-to-backs on February 23rd and 24th. On the 23rd at 5 p.m., they're going to have Atlanta versus Boston. That night at 9 p.m. is going to be LA versus Atlanta. On the 24th at 5, it's going to be New York versus the Bay. And then at 9 p.m., New York versus Boston. So New York, you're going to have a double up on the 24th. Atlanta, a double up on the 23rd. And you'll also see Boston play twice on back-to-back days. They're also going to have 3 straight days of coverage from March 1st to the 3rd. We had already mentioned the match March 1st, Tiger versus Rory, Jupiter and Boston at 9 p.m. On the 2nd, they're going to have LA versus New York at 7 o'clock. And at 9 p.m. on the 3rd, the Bay versus Jupiter with playoff matches slated on March 17th, March 23rd, and March 24th. So we'll have the semifinals on St. Patrick's Day, and the two final matches, semifinal and final, on the 23rd and the 24th. So the TGL officially back for season 2, trying to get back and better than ever, keeping very similar windows that they've had in the past, getting to go live to ESPN, not just largely ESPN2, which is a huge boost for them. They'll be able to air as well on ESPN Plus. So I'm really excited to see what the TGL is able to produce and really bring out for a product that I personally very much believe in. The tech keeps growing. Hopefully they add in more fun things. I mean, the jokes from the Ryder Cup about JT throwing his hammers while they were down by 7 was absolutely hilarious. So people are already engaged enough in it and are interested in it. So we'll see on December 28th. We come back. We'll probably do a live show for that as well. Hopefully KB can hop on. We can watch that and a watch along. Let's get to our Clubhouse Chatter presented by our friends over at Acorn Hills. Clubhouse Chatter brought to you by Acorn Hills, our go-to apparel brand, putting an eco-friendly spin on styles that you'll love. With printable clothing tags, you'll be sure to look your best in the blistering sun or the chilly fall. Head to acornhillsco.com. Use code GITH15. That's getting the whole 15 to get 15% off your next order at acornhillsco.com. Again, code GITH15 to get 15% off your next order at acornhillsco.com. Acorn Hills, look your best from the ground up. Let's get to what I liked this week in the world of golf. And while it was a relatively quiet week in the golf world, I was actually surprised by how good the Sanderson Farm Invitational was. The course showed a little bit of teeth, which I thought was fun. You don't usually see that on fall tracks, but also the gallery was fun out in Jackson, Mississippi. Garrett Higo had a moment. The fan favorite was Steve Fisk, the 28-year-old who came out and won the tournament with a stock Mizuno driver that you can go and buy for $300. So a big win for the Mizuno gang. Shout out to my golf set behind me here with Mizuno. I can't recommend more than enough the JPX Hot Metal Pros. Probably the best irons I've ever swung in my entire life. But Steve Fisk, a huge first PGA Tour win, was deep in the standings. He finally gets his first dub to gain an exemption for the next season. But Garrett Higo, amongst the fight with Fisk to try and get that first win, matched a birdie from Fisk, shushed the crowd. That was giving him a lot of moans and groans. Some really interesting stats. Danny Walker, through 3 rounds, had 451 feet worth of putts made. He outpaced the next best player at 298 feet. Doc Redmond, who Monday queued into the event, is way off in the overall standings for Korn Ferry Tour, let alone the PGA Tour. He actually earned a spot into the Utah Bank Championship at Black Desert in 2 weeks with a birdie on 18. So a really good showing from some big-time names as well. I was impressed to see Rasmus Højgaard, who I picked to win. He finished 5 back at 19 under. Taylor Montgomery had a really big week, actually led the tour in putts, only 94 putts. That was the lowest number of putts by any player in the field this past week. Eric Cole finished top 9. Kevin Yu is looking to proceed another really good finish here. T11, hoping to bring that to the Baycurrent next week. Tom Kim finished in 11th place. Max Homa, a really good showing, finished 18th, starting to show some of that form back into play. Michael Torbjornsen finished top 30 with Luke Clanton, as well as JT Poston, all finished in 29th position. Some other names that popped up, Gordon Sargent making his debut on the year, finished 38th. Nick Dunlap finished 44th. So a lot of guys with some good form going into this week, progressing that as well. But the Baycurrents are going to provide even more fun stuff. But I did like the Sanderson Farm, which was a surprise. Usually, I'm not intrigued at all by anything happening in the FedEx Fall. But when you have a quiet schedule for the week, you kind of do get really, really interested. What I didn't like, though, on the other side of things, the Korn Ferry Tour was in full swing, and I watched some of that event as well. Because I was really intrigued by what Ryan French over at Monday Q Info was talking about. He was tweeting all weekend. Obviously, the Korn Ferry Tour Championship is next week at Sawgrass, so I'll be interested in watching that. Actually, let me confirm where that is. Oh, I'm sorry. It is. I keep seeing Pete die. I'm not. It is not TBC Sawgrass. That's going to be at the French Lick Resort in French Lick, Indiana. The United Leasing and Finance Korn Ferry Tour Championship. That's a mouthful. Is going to be playing host to the championship then. But I was interested because, and I'll talk about it in a bit. The guys on the KFT who are looking to retain tour cards or whatnot, they all got outshined by Adrien Dumont de Chaussee, who won the Compliance Solutions Championship at 33 under par, the lowest scoring event in the history of the Korn Ferry Tour. And Ryan French tweeted this out, and I totally agree with him. And it's why I don't like this in particular. While it's great that Adrian went out and won, good for him. He's going to have some good momentum going into the KFT final. What I don't like about the Korn Ferry Tour schedule, and I've spoken to Ben about it, I've spoken to KB about it, I've spoken to tour pros and other folks who are grinding on mini tours. What I hate is that we have events where, first of all, the Korn Ferry Tour schedule is so unstructured. If you look at the schedule from this year, the traveling that goes into being a Korn Ferry Tour member is actually insane. In order, throughout the course of the year, they go from the Bahamas to Panama, to Colombia, to Argentina, to Chile, to Georgia, Florida, Texas, back to Mexico, Missouri, Tennessee, Raleigh, North Carolina, South Carolina, Kansas, Illinois. They're going to all different places. It's not structured the way the PGA Tour is. And as we've seen from a lot of guys who struggle to find consistent success on the Korn Ferry Tour and make their way to the pros, the money becomes an issue. They struggle with being able to finance their careers. The travel is immense. You don't make the cut, you're not making any money. So to find out that the schedule is completely unstructured, that needs to change. But when it comes to the courses that you play, I find it that it's almost harder for guys on the Korn Ferry Tour to get acclimated to the PGA Tour conditions once they make it, because of the fact that the courses on the Korn Ferry Tour play so easy. We've seen a lot of really low scores on the KFT this year, and 33 under par. The cut was at 7 under par. The second place guy finished 6 back. Like 26 under par should be winning you tournaments. But no, 33 was the overall winner. I'm trying to pull up the winners this year and see what some of the results are. Let's see here. Where are you? Here we go. So the week prior, the nationwide Children's Hospital Championship, 17 under par. Prior to that, 23 under par. They go out to Boise, 22 under par, 19 under, 18 under, 26 under, 27 under. Like, they're 25 under at the Memorial. There are some tournaments, the average tournament is finishing in the mid-20 under par range, and it's kind of unfair to these players when they have to convert from going and playing Blue Hills Country Club in the middle of Canton, Ohio, and going to play, Canton, Mass, and then going to play from the Advent Health Championship to go play Bay Hill and get absolutely walloped. You don't see a ton of this, but I like a really good example of just the struggle of golf. I look at Justin Suh, who I think stands out as somebody who kind of like fits the mold of where I'm at. Was on the PGA Tour last year and immediately just struggled out the gate. He played 30 times, had only 2 top 20s. In 2023, played 35 times. He had some success, six top 20s, 2 top 5s. But on the Korn Ferry Tour, 25 starts in 2022, 16 top 20s, 4 top 5s, and a win. This year on the Korn Ferry Tour, 23 starts, 5 top 20s, 1 top 5, 1 win. So you're seeing that like guys are playing the Korn Ferry Tour easier, and the same thing's happening now with pros as the tour card number dwindles down to only the top 100. Conditional status members on the PGA Tour would rather go play the Korn Ferry Tour, play easier golf courses, and win to earn their card back than try and grind the PGA Tour for conditional status. The golf course needs to be harder. The places they go needs to be more standardized. Go play in California. Go play more in the Carolinas. Go play in Florida and Texas, and have a consistent schedule for 3, 4, 5 weeks, if you can, to go and play in courses down there to keep guys local, keep guys honest. And I think at the end of the day, getting that kind of structure, I look at NASCAR, and it's impossible to do this because it's a 4-day PGA Tour event. But why can't the Korn Ferry Tour play Monday through Wednesday or Thursday, play your Thursday to Sunday at a golf course near to where the tour's playing? They're going to go play La Quinta at the Amex. Okay, go play one of the other golf courses that they usually play and try and standardize that event. Play the Amex at one golf course. If they're going to go play at Pebble Beach, why don't you have the KFT guys go play at like Spyglass and play all 4 rounds at Pebble Beach? I understand it isn't a perfect science here, but get some more structure into the overall schedule of the Korn Ferry Tour and make the golf courses more challenging, or create more rigorous standards for some of these courses to be on the Korn Ferry Tour. We shouldn't have to be seeing 33 under par at a golf course in the middle of Oklahoma, or 27 under par in Mass, or 25 under par in Vegas. It doesn't make sense to have that. So I didn't like, while of course, huge congratulations to Adrian on his win, I didn't like the fact that 33 under par is winning a golf tournament. It's the same reason why I never liked Kapalua and the Century. The course plays too easy, and 3 guys 1 year shot 35 under par. I just don't think it's right. What did I hear this week in the world of golf? Honestly, I didn't hear anything because watching the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship on the DP World Tour, Bobby McIntyre won by 4 strokes, and I didn't understand a word this guy said. It's kind of a jab because he's Scottish, but also he won a cold and challenging weather-shortened tournament at St. Andrews, at Carnoustie, went back and forth in Scotland. He said, quote, "I've done everything against the book. I pitched up Wednesday afternoon." He flew up Wednesday afternoon. "I played 12 holes. The diet hasn't been good. Coming off of a Ryder Cup win and a pretty drunken week at that. Shot 3 straight rounds of 66 to put up another winning campaign on Scottish soil, another home crowd." We got to talk about how good Bobby Mack is, though. Aside from just like not being able to hear or understand him, back-to-back incredible seasons from Bobby McIntyre. 14 top 25s, 3 top 5s. He has 1 less win compared to 2024. Those are the exact same numbers, minus the 1 win the year prior. And he did it in 27 starts as opposed to 33 the year prior. Dramatic improvement from his accuracy off the tee. He's now positive in percentage points off the tee. He also has gained 0.3 strokes improvement on his approach game, which has been a huge, vast improvement overall to his game. I think what's really interesting, too, is that Bobby McIntyre was kind of undervalued going into the Ryder Cup because of the fact that he wasn't the biggest name. It wasn't Ludwig Oberg or John Rahm or Tyrrell Hatton or Rory McIlroy, Tommy Fleetwood. But like, he's truly a top 10 golfer in the world. And debate the OWGR all you want. Debate the data golf rankings too that has him for some reason outside of the top 10. According to the OWGR, Russ Henley is the 3rd best player in the world. Is he? No. But Bobby Mack is absolutely a top 10 golfer on the planet at this very moment. And I don't think it's particularly close. If you look at the top 10 in the world, according to the OWGR, Scheffler, Rory, Henley, Xander, Fleetwood, Thomas, Spawn, McIntyre's 8. He's ahead of Morikawa, English, Griffin, Rose, Hovland, Bradley, Straka, Oberg, Matsuyama, Noren, McNeely, Young, Hatton, DeChambeau, Cantlay, Burns. I would take him over just about everybody, not named Bryson DeChambeau. And if you give me the shot to take him one-on-one, he's been so good this year, and we don't talk about it nearly enough. He's now, granted, like all these guys are on par, and any of them can win at any given week, but he's as good as the rest of them. His index so far this year, believe it or not, which is actually the most interesting part of the story. His index right now, according to Data Golf, is at a plus 1.48. That ranks better than the following. In order: Cameron Young, Victor Hovland, Ludwig Oberg, Patrick Cantlay, Keegan Bradley, Joaquin Niemann, Matt McNeely, Alex Noren, Harris English, Justin Thomas, Harry Hall, Tyrrell Hatton, Hideki Matsuyama, Aaron Rai, Chris Gotterup, Ricky Fowler, Jordan Spieth, Colin Morikawa, Kurt Kitayama, and Siwoo Kim. And on top of that, there are other names all the way down this list. Corey Connors, Akshay Bhatia, Jason Day, Brian Harmon, Sepp Straka. You get it. He, according to this, is one of the top 12 players in the world, according to his index. And that's including the fact that Jon Rahm is in the top 5. So LIV, and as is Bryson. So the LIV guys are up there. He's been incredible. And doing what he did last year, exactly what he did last year in less starts, I can honestly see Bobby Mack in 2027. The Open Championship goes back to St. Andrews. Certainly played well enough. I mean, the schedule works in his favor. They're going to have to circle around. They're playing at Birkdale next year. You're telling me that they're not going to go back to? They're going to go. They haven't announced what the 28, 29, and so on schedule is going to be. But if they continue this Northern Ireland, England, Scotland kind of run that they've been doing, they can go to Prestwick, Turnberry, Troon again, Muirfield, Carnoustie, like all these golf courses that this kid grew up playing. He's local to. Scotland isn't a very big place. And he certainly has gotten around and has played in a handful of places. So I would love to see Bobby Mack be able to do it. What I see this week in the world of golf, well, this is something that you never really see. The LPGA Tour is on an absolute bender. And what do I mean by that? They've hosted 26 events in 2025, and they've had 26 unique winners. What's that? Yeah, it's a real statistic. We've had wins from Charlie Hull, from Lydia Ko, the number 1 player in the world. We've seen so many tremendous talents win on tour. This past week, sponsor invite Yu Min Huang won at the Lot Championship in Hawaii. By the way, she's not even a tour member. So the fact, like, we're getting the wild winners. And with all of that, Nelly Korda hasn't won once. She won 7 times last year. 5 straight, or maybe even 6 straight at one point. Not only is this creating a stir, we don't know who's going to win the LPGA Player of the Year award, but who's the real face of golf? Because if you look at the Rolex rankings, it's kind of crazy when you look at it and just know that a bunch of these players only have 1 win. Gino Titacool, Nelly, Lydia Ko, Minjee Lee, Charlie Hull, like anybody can be the face of golf. Now, granted, if you look at it from the lens of who has played the best overall in a given time span, I mean, Titacool is leading the Rolex standings by 100 points. Like, she's been on absolute fire. But it begs to question, how long can this go? I think it's really cool to see so many winners and the parity that's coming to the LPGA Tour. There is a ton of great competitors, a bunch of great golfers. And honestly, if you took the time to watch LPGA golf, and I say this about all women's sports, the uniqueness about women's athletics is that they rely on skill rather than physical attributes. I think what I love about college basketball on the women's side, it's very technically sound. While the WNBA gets a lot of crap, I think college basketball, there's not as much physical altercation. In college women's hockey, and the pros do checking, but in college women's hockey, stick handling is paramount. You cannot body check whatsoever. Softball, I think, is incredibly unique. And golf in the same way. They hit it shorter, but it makes it more of a pinpoint game because they're playing men's courses. Like they're playing the golf courses that anybody could play. And it creates a need for pinpoint accurate golf. And I think that's what makes the LPGA really interesting and what gives them great competition all around. So 26 starts, 26 unique players. Curious what happens with event number 27. We're going to take a short break. On the other side, we're going to get to some more info on the Korn Ferry Tour. We'll chat about what's happening with the Korn Ferry Tour Championship coming up as well. We'll chat beer money as we go to the Baycurrent Invitational at Yokohama Country Club in Japan, a big shift away from Jackson, Mississippi from last week. Don't go anywhere. Episode 225 of the Getting the Whole podcast. Stephen McAvoy here with you.
Subscribe to Get in the Whole Pod.
This episode of Get in the Hole is brought to you by Acorn Hills, your go-to golf company that's changing clothing through conservation. With a unique value proposition that blends style with eco-friendly packaging and plantable clothing tags, you get to look good and support our environment. Check out their latest drops from quarter zips to polos, hats, hoodies, and beyond, as well as their Founders Club, a quarterly mystery box curated with seasonal apparel and premium accessories that you won't find anywhere else. Head to acornhillsco.com and use code GITH15. That's Getting the Whole 15 to get 15% off your next order at acornhillsco.com. Again, that's Getting the Whole 15 to get 15% off your next order at acornhillsco.com. Acorn Hills, look your best from the ground up. Welcome back in, everybody, to Get in the Hole. Stephen McAvoy here. The second half of the show is brought to you by our friends over at McGregor Golf. Since 1829, McGregor Golf has a pedigree of winning. From the great Jack Nicklaus to former world number one Greg Norman, they are growing the direct-to-consumer golf game with uncompromising quality. Rated the best DTC brand by MyGolfSpy in 2024, McGregor will help your game in a variety of ways. Whether you're looking to grow your set, get your junior into the game, or need to upgrade to those senior clubs, they've got you covered and more. Check out the link in our description and get shopping today at McGregorGolf.com. Let's get right into the Korn Ferry Tour's Top 75, officially locked in for the Tour Championship, happening this upcoming week at French Lick Resort and Country Club in French Lick, Indiana. A lot of crazy play from this past week at the Compliance Solution Championship in Oklahoma. Now, a few changes are on the men. This is the first time, as with the PGA Tour's changes to their overall tour card standings, as we mentioned last week on the show at the beginning, really, of the fall series. Top 100 PGA Tour players keep their card. Used to be 125. That 100 to 125 get conditional status. Now, it's actually gotten smaller on the Korn Ferry Tour. It's made it harder to even make the PGA Tour in that regard. Used to be a top 100, get their Korn Ferry exemption for the year. Now it's top 75 in the season-long points race. They receive full exemptions. 76 through 100 get conditional status, which means very limited starts. Essentially, it's going to push them down to having to go play Q School. They get past first stage automatically. So they'll start out in second stage of Q School. A few names to note from this past week that had some big weeks. Samuel Anderson played the final 4 holes at 2 under par to finish at 72nd in the Korn Ferry Tour. Points started at 76th. Cole Hammer earned full status of the final round, 64, to finish in at 73rd. James Nicholas finished T3 at 2300, New Jersey native and Yale alum. His best ever Korn Ferry Tour finish, he earned full status as well. And Blades Brown, the 17-year-old or 16-year-old who went pro, he finished dead at 75. So he'll make his way to the Korn Ferry Tour Championship. It's really interesting this past week because a lot of movement now with the Korn Ferry Tour changes. Obviously, there's a lot of outrage about it. We have some guys who have already locked in their PGA Tour status for next year, but it only makes it that much harder now with parity at an all-time high, not only for the PGA Tour, but not for the Korn Ferry Tour to even be able to get to your top 75 ranking. If you look at it, some guys who missed out on full status, Carl Yuan, former PGA Tour member. Let's see who else falls on here. Quade Cummins finished outside. Austin Greaser finished outside the top 100. Richie Wierenski, Matt Nesmith, Preston Summerhays, big-time player at Arizona State. There are a lot of names who ended up missing out on their opportunity to get deeper on the Korn Ferry Tour rankings. And again, looking at the really top names, Austin Smotherman finished second, Neil Shipley third, Hank Labiota back to the PGA Tour, who finished fifth. Andrew Dumont de Detourse finished sixth. Still not confirmed yet, but who will be earning their tour cards currently in the top 20. Christo Lamprecht, Pearson Coody, John Vanderlaan, Zhensheng Do, Mitch Meissner, currently 21st, just outside of the auto qualifying. Justin Suh at 24th. We mentioned him earlier in the show. Alistair Doherty, Kevin Doherty, Kyle Westmoreland, a lot of guys, Russell Knox, who are fighting to be able to maintain their status, and they'll all be fighting at the Korn Ferry Tour Championship this weekend. So really interested to see what happens there. Let's get into some beer money as we wrap up a pretty short week, a pretty short show overall. Not a lot of news happening in the world of golf. I'll try and stretch this out for a little bit as I can, and we'll get a little bit more in the weeds on our betting tips for the week. But our beer money picks this week presented by this week and every week, Kenwood Beer. Everyone needs that one great beer for any occasion, right? Well, Kenny has you covered with a crisp, cool, refreshing lager that is just as original as their desire to put a modern twist on the original lager. Head to kenwoodbeer.com, use the Kenny tracker to hashtag grab a Kenny at your local liquor stores in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware, and beyond. Must be 21 years or older to consume. And for those of you gambling with us, please gamble legally in a state that allows it. And you must be 21 years or older to gamble as well. We begin with a top 20. Actually, let's do this. Let's do a little bit of a breakdown. Yokohama Country Club in Japan, the Baycurrent Classic, used to be the Zozo. For those of you who aren't familiar, Baycurrent took over the sponsorship rights this year. Brand new golf course that we do not see. So you don't usually get the opportunity to break down a whole new course, but now we get to, which is a great, fun little turn from what we usually get. 7,300 yards, par 71, a breakdown of the scorecard, 3 par 3s, all between 168 and 237 yards. The longest par 4 is 510 yards. The shortest comes to only 337. 2 par 5s, both featured on the front 9 of this golf course at 529, 536 yards. Overall, 80-plus bunkers, very well guarded near the greens with 5 holes bringing water into play. It's a Core and Crenshaw redesign from 2015. So you're going to see a lot of natural terrain, a lot of blind tee shots, elevated greens, a lot of this course is very much built into the terrain out in Yokohama. Major runoff and undulations on those greens as well. If you look at the course comparisons, which I think is going to be the biggest key here in order to determine who we're going to be betting on this week, immediately thought of 4 golf courses. Thought of Augusta National, incredibly hilly, undulated, relatively wide open fairways, so it's pretty generous on that end. But the bunkering, really well guarded, undulation on the green, very fast bent grass greens. I mean at Augusta, it's Bermuda. But another similar golf course, Muirfield Village, host of the Memorial, smaller greens than what we're going to see here in Japan, and narrower fairways. But again, very hilly, tree-lined golf course, very good bunkering. Guarding the golf course makes it play much longer. And then TPC Twin Cities and TPC Deer Run, 2 very different golf courses, lots of bunkers. The 3M and the TPC Twin Cities has a bit more length to it as opposed to the John Deere, but a lot of that like hilly undulation I think really fits both designs of the golf course. It will play wet in Japan. We're towards the end of its typhoon season, so I do expect some wind and some wetness in the forecast. Should be pretty rainy on that Wednesday, Thursday to start off. So we'll see how things roll on that end. Wind, I don't know how the wind directions are going to play a factor, but they are saying gusts as high as 35 miles an hour. So we should certainly be seeing a longer golf course than 7,300 yards that we have seen in the past. With that being said, let's get right into it. Top 20 pick. And I'm going to go Austin Eckroat, who's plus 160 for a top 20. So not the exact kind of golf course that we're looking at, but the Worldwide Technologies in Mexico from last year. Eckroat won the event. It's a wide open golf course, undulated greens, kind of similar to this course, but not really. But Austin Eckroat's made his bread and butter his entire career on a really generous driver, a very long hitter. His approach play has gotten really good as of late. It fits to his strengths, particularly if it's going to play wet. Playing long is going to be a really big factor to success at this golf course. So I'm going to take Austin Eckroat plus 160 for top 20. Top 10 this week, I'm going with Max Homa, plus 300. This is his third top 20 in the last 6 starts this past weekend at the Sanderson Farm. So he started really hot. He had back-to-back 72s, kind of dropped them out of contention late, but still finished in that top 20. The form is sort of rounding back. While he struggled early on this year, there were some signs throughout the year that like his game never really went away. It's just he got unlucky at certain junctures and really started off hot early and then kind of dipped off. It seems to be turning back around for him, and playing on these easier golf courses is certainly going to help him out a lot with his confidence. I think he's trending pretty positively. I think a top 10 is not out of the range here. He was top 25 in the field the last 2 weeks, his last 3 starts in tee to green, approach play, and putting. So I think there are good signs to come from Max Homa, top 10 plus 300. My top 5 this week, I'm going back to the well with Rasmus Højgaard. It took him to win last week. He finished 3rd, just outside of where I wanted him to be, but I do think this is another get-right week for Rasmus. He's had 3 top 5s in his last 5 starts. The courses are going to play wet, so naturally you want that distance off the tee. He's one of the best long hitters on the PGA Tour. The form is really there. He obviously is coming off a strong Ryder Cup, some good runs out in Europe. Again, those top 5s he had in Europe, wet conditions as usual. He really is an intriguing number at plus 400, where you're getting a lot of upside for a golf course that's going to play wet. You have the length, you have the putting, and the approach play has actually been really good from Rasmus in his last 4 starts. He's top 5 going into the week in overall tee to green form. So I'm really interested in seeing what Højgaard does, particularly in a field against some big names like Hideki Matsuyama, Siwoo Kim, and Xander Schauffele and Collin Morikawa. My gimme selection this week, I'm going to go with Syed Theegala for a top 30. He's plus 140 for that top 30 finish. Theegala's has had a tough year, right? Medical exemption, I believe, for the past year due to a neck injury. He missed 2 full months of play. But his profile really does fit this golf course, and it fits the comparative courses pretty well. He's at top 10s at the Memorial, at Augusta, at the John Deere, and at the 3M. He also has pretty decent form in Japan. His last time he played was in 2022. He finished top 5 at the Zozo. I also finished 38th at the Pro Tour. Finally broke a 5 straight miscut Schneid. He was top 10 in tee to green at the Pro Tour, so it was really just a bad putter and short game that kind of screwed him over. But I do think this is an opportunity for Syed Theegala to continue getting that form back and hopefully come out stronger throughout the fall and into next season. So I like Syed Theegala, top 30 at plus 140. Let's get to our ladder parlay, and I'm going with some interesting styles here. I'm going to start with the top 40. I'm going to go with Takumi Kanaya, the Japanese native, one of the former best Japanese amateur players in the world. He has some length. He has some good approach play. The putters helped him out. This is a golf course he knows well. I think Kanaya could be a really sneaky, good back-end top 40. He's low on the odds board. The field is better than him, but I think he can squeeze one out and finish top 40 here. Top 30, I'm going with Emiliano Grillo. I think Grillo's got really good putting stats and approach play that's going to help him here. The driver hasn't been his best friend, but he'll be able to get those approach play shots done. His best approach game comes in that like 175 to 200 range, which is where he's probably going to be off the tee. If he could find the green, the putter will help him out here for top 30. And finally, top 20, I'm going back to the well with a guy who I took for top 5 last week. I'm picking Michael Thorbjornsen. And it's for the same reason why I took Højgaard and Eckroat earlier. Wet golf course, an opportunity to hit the ball really far. He actually played really well at the Sanderson Farm, but a bad putter screwed him over in what was a putting contest kind of event. If he can play the game long, the ball is going to be wet. It's going to sit down. It's not going to travel as far. He'll be able to sustain a lot of success if he can just find himself on the green, because you're going to see a score much lower than you usually do, probably in the low and mid-teens. If Thorbjornsen can just get to the green and be unscathed by a bad putter, I think he can very well win this week, certainly finish top 20. So that's the ladder. Kanaya top 40, Grillo 30, and Thorbjornsen top 20. Finally, my winner at the Baycurrent Classic. I think that this is a really interesting play. This guy ranks 8th on the PGA Tour in driving distance of 318 yards, despite being a very small player. He's smaller than me. He's 11th off the tee, gaining over a half of a stroke off the tee. His approach play nestles him in the 94th percentile among active players. He's particularly strong on the longer he plays to the pin, which he might not necessarily have to worry about, but if it plays wet, like we're saying, and he has to play the game longer, it may actually help him out a ton. He won the 3M this past year. He's 3 out of 3 lifetime playing at the 3M and the John Deere, finishing 6th or better in all 3 of his starts. I'm going at 22-1 Kurt Kitayama to win the Baycurrent Classic. I think this is a very interesting situation, similar to Rasmus and similar to Torbjornsson, a guy with a smaller size who outdrove the 3M golf course over at Twin Cities really well. And when faced with a lot of challenges, he thrived. I think Kurt Kitayama, which, by the way, guys, he's won at Bay Hill before. He's won the big-time events. He can certainly do a bit of damage at an event that should fit his game pretty damn well. His two wins in his career have come with some significant hills to climb at Bay Hill, at the 3M. I certainly think he could sustain plenty of success. He's great off the tee this year. His distance is one of the best in the biz. And those wide open fairways, while he isn't the most accurate player, will certainly give him a lot of run and a lot of help. So I'm going to take Kurt Kitayama 22-1 to win the Baycurrent Classic. That's going to do it all for me here. Not a lot to talk about this week in the world of golf. We had TGL, had plenty of stuff to talk about from the KFT to the LPGA to the PGA Tour. I'll be sure to try and get more out of you next week. But that's been episode 225 of the Get in the Hole podcast. Shout out to our sponsors. Be sure to follow us, like, and subscribe on all of our social media platforms at Get in the Hole Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Check out our social media pages. Be sure to like the pages, share our posts. Let us know how you want to see or what you want to see on our pages. On Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, go like, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating. The engagement certainly helps. The platform helps get the name out there past our everyday listeners. We love you guys. We want to have some more folks getting the best takes in the world of golf. And of course, check out Underground Sports Philadelphia on YouTube and check out all of our awesome podcasts across the brand: Underground Circuit, OTB, Streamer Season, Top Pins, and beyond. I'm Stephen McAvoy. Thank you so much for tuning in. Episode 225 of the Get in the Hole podcast. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening to Get in the Hole, the official golf podcast of Underground Sports Philadelphia. Catch us every week wherever you get your favorite podcasts, and be sure to like and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Get in the Hole Pod, and follow Underground Sports Philadelphia at Underground PHI. We'll see you next time, and remember, get in the hole!